live from my home studio in beautiful La Puente, California. This is the All Dodgers podcast. No, it's not the All Lakers podcast. I left that place that has anything to do with All Lakers and Lakers 24/8 and all that, even though I invented that name. What's going on, Dodgers fans? My name is Clint Pasillas. Find me as Real FRG on the social medias. I'm going to push those. Well, I guess they're already on the screen there. Listen, I don't want to waste a lot of time here. We're going to talk about your Dodgers. We're going to talk a little bit about the Lakers. We got some mid-June report cards for your Dodgers, and we got to talk about Michael Conforto. Maybe it's the end of the line. Maybe he's getting less playing time, according to Dave Roberts. But first, I want to talk about, we should talk like a little about the Lakers, I guess. I'm going to put this on the screen because we are going to talk Dodgers Padres mid-series review. But we have an illustrious panel of the best people I could find off the internet for free. The guy in the middle you see, that is Jacob Brownson. You know him, who does a lot of great stuff on the Twitter machine. And every once in a while, if you bully him the right way, he will post his bullpen chart, usage chart. And, of course,
I'll have one out today. I'll get one out today.
Did you see – so did Talking Friars rip you off, by the way? Because I noticed Talking Friars also.
I think he's been doing it. Okay. I've never seen him do it, but someone told me he's been doing it. But, yeah, him and I have a little bit of a thing against each other. So
no,
mine's
what?
Quality anyways. So
with the Padres account, Kevin, listen, somebody you grew up way Padres too close to Padres country. They know they're always smart and bright and right on top of their bringing their facts to the fight, if you will, right, Kev?
Absolutely. They're
Oh, God. Guys, sound off in the comments. Let us know what you want to talk about. We got a number of things we want to talk about here on this show. We should be talking about the Dodgers and the Padres, but first, we got to talk about this Laker thing real quick because, my God, Dodgers majority owner Mark Walter, $10 billion to become the majority owner now of the Los Angeles Lakers, which is absolutely absurd. Just give me like 0.0001% of that money, and I'll be a very happy boy, and I will never do any of this crap on the internet again. I'll just be, actually, I'll probably go live. I'll just be doing it from a beach and sipping on a Mai Tai. But questions I have is, do any Lakers pitch, and could Shohei be a good big man for up the middle for JJ Redick? Are either of you guys big Lakers fans? Because I've kind of retired from Lakers fandom.
Yeah, if I talk about how I'm a Thunder fan, I might catch some heat here. So I'm going to try to stay out of it personally, but this is great for the Lakers. I know
it's good for basketball in general.
Yeah, for sure.
My diehard Laker fandom died with Kobe. So you grow up with Kobe and then he's gone. It's a little bit harder for me to follow the team. And what people complain about baseball with the long season, I have the same complaints about basketball, if not more so. So I have a really hard time following that every day for 82 games. I don't know why 162 is so much easier for me. I guess box scores are easier to look at, but
it feels like the playoffs are just so long, and that's what kind of kills me, is how long basketball playoffs go on, which of course they're still going now, but
I didn't realize between game 1 and 2 there were I think 2 or 3 days off, which I don't understand, and they weren't traveling. I don't understand that.
That was a money thing because they get bad ratings on Saturdays, but
it has to be.
Just throw that on there. For some reason, the comment was the tiniest comment, but Killa Noez or Nose does not want us talking Lakers talk here with Dodgers and Padres getting spicy and all that. But yeah, any final thoughts?
I'll be more interested in them moving forward. Organizationally, structurally, the Lakers were pretty frustrating in general to begin with. I'm not exactly Rob Pelinka's biggest defender. And I think the Genie selling the team has been a long time coming. So I will say they have renewed a little bit more faith, because I'm really curious to see kind of how, as Dodger fans, we've seen what Mark Walters and the Guggenheim company have done for the Dodgers and turning them around. Interested to see how that translates to basketball, where the Lakers really, it's not like they're not spending money. They're at the second apron or whatever the hell the terminology is. They're up there, but I'm curious to see how they implement, how they spend on the periphery. kind of like how the Dodgers do that with their medical staff or scouting. Things like
Yeah, signing random relievers to 10-day contracts or something like that. However, basketball works. Hey, the important final thing I'll say about this: the best thing that ever came out of the lack of cohesion from the Lakers front office was Magic Johnson just up and announcing to the world that I ain't gonna be here. Best thing that's ever happened to just memes in general. But speaking of memes, Padres fans in general still learning how to fan. I saw Jacob. I saw you going a little back and forth with people in the trolls on Twitter last night. I'll stand behind it again. Mike Schilt is the biggest tryhard. Just everything. It feels like a show, and obviously that kind of managerial style probably plays with that Padres clubhouse, that locker room or whatever. Like if you don't look like hey, I'm gonna come on, hold me back, somebody hold me back, then wait, whose team are you playing for? But what's more important is winning baseball games. The Dodgers have taken 2 of the first 2 games in this series, and Andy Pages, I think everybody knows his name now. Jacob, what are your thoughts so far about this series and the first 5 meetings of these clubs, and what we've learned so far?
It's been an interesting one. It's made me dislike Mike Schilt some more. First of all, you don't say who the F do you think you are?
No, you can fucking say that shit here. You're good.
Okay, who the fuck do you think you are? You don't say that to someone, especially not a professional athlete, because they're going to turn up and they're going to beat you, and that's what Andy Paz has done. We'll probably talk about it later. He's having a great year. I think this series has kind of shown that the Dodgers are a way better team than the Padres with where they're at right now and still kind of dominating the 2 games. But it's been a lot of fun. They play some energetic games, and it's going to be fun to see Sheehan today, and Sheehan and Robo today.
Yeah, we got the Rooks. Of course, Dodgers. We were all without Emmett Sheehan for the last year. He admitted he had a little bit too much hype in his first live BP against Shohei, or I think he was just throwing, and Shohei was standing in the box, and maybe tried to get a little bit more velo on that fastball way too early in spring training last year, and then the elbow's barking, and then the elbow gives, but he's back. First time we've seen him since the end of 2023, and Kev, there was a lot of things people like. There was a lot of things to like about Emmett Sheehan when we saw him all those months ago, 13 months ago or whatever it is. I'm terrible at math. Our buddy Jeff Snyder will tell you about that. But yeah, piggybacking off what Jacob said there, what are you looking forward to seeing out of Sheehan here in this game 3 of the series?
I remember when he was coming up, a lot of the prospect guys were saying that it wasn't Gavin Stone, it wasn't Bobby Miller with the best stuff. It was Emmett Sheehan. He's got just like the fastball has so much life to it. He's got a really nasty changeup as well. Kind of like images of like Ryan Pepio. He's got a good slider, he's got just a good mix, and you pair that with his electric fastball. He's just an absolute weapon, and he was really finding his footing with the Dodgers until his elbow blew out. And it's a tale as old as time at this point with this organization. So it's just happy to have him back. And it's somebody you're getting back where it's not just necessarily like, oh, this guy could eat innings, or, we just need him to, just like get 18 outs. No, like this guy could give you really quality outings as well. Like the Dodgers are getting back a really important piece. Just don't look at the playoffs from 2023.
And that outing against the Diamondbacks, not pretty. Go ahead, Jacob.
This is a guy I think we should remember in his MLB debut through 6 no-hit innings, and his stuff in those rehab starts looked even better. He averaged about 95 with the fastball in 2023, and for a lot of those rehab starts, he was sitting 97, 98. It would get down there, but he was topping out. I think he topped out at 99. So the stuff looks even better. You can't really take the results of the Albuquerque start because it's in Albuquerque. That's cores of the PCL. Yeah. But the secondaries look great. He looks as good as I think I've seen him look. So I'm super excited to see him.
Yeah, it feels like the hype that Bobby Miller got is kind of like it translated better to the field with Emmett Sheehan. Like all of the pomp and circumstance that Bobby Miller with his fastball and his, like all these wicked secondaries, obviously we've seen how Bobby's panned out recently, although he did have a good outing, I think yesterday. So good for him. But like when it comes to like on-field production, Emmett Sheehan is really what people were hoping to get out of Bobby Miller.
Yeah, and he's coming back at such a perfect time right now. Obviously, we know this is a team that is in dire need of starting pitching help. Shohei Ohtani put the team on his back for an inning this week just because of how bad things are. I really haven't talked much about that Ohtani outing. I think you saw a lot of nerves, a lot of adrenaline, just yanking pitches. But I'm excited. I'm really hoping he's pitching on Sunday because a little birdie told me I'm going to be there on Sunday, perhaps with a lot of our all Dodgers Discord friends and all that. But that's a spoiler alert for the people who don't pay the $5 a month to be our friend on the internet. Talking Ohtani, getting back to this series as opposed to what's coming up in this series, of course, 150% was an intentional hit by pitch last night. I said it last night to Alana Rizzo on the Dodgers territory. I was like, I think there's going to be a fight today. I think something is going to happen. If Nando gets hit one more time or there's a pitch up and in, or there's a pitch up and in to Manny Machado, we know he's a little crybaby bitch. Like, benches are going to clear. I think it happens tonight, and if not, it happens tomorrow. Am I way off base on this? Kevin, you touch this one first.
If it happens, yeah, a fight will break out.
Oh, if a fight happens, it's going to happen.
No. If somebody gets hit,
yeah,
there's a fight breaking out.
Yeah.
Although I would be curious if it's Sheehan on the mound because he is coming back. This is his first MLB appearance in 14 months or something like that. So I think an effectively wild Emmett Sheehan is pretty much what we can expect.
Yeah.
I would hope he's not afraid to pitch inside because that's what he's going to have to do against some of these right-handed hitters anyway. We know how performative Tatis can be if a ball's a little bit too high. But
great word for that, yeah.
If Emmett Sheehan does plunk somebody, I would hope they realize, this is a guy that's just coming back. It's not on purpose. Because trust me, the Emmett Sheehan is not out here trying to ruin his 14-month debut. He wants this to go as smoothly as possible. Although the game gets away from them and
exactly, they can't read the room sometime, and we saw that yesterday with the Iglesias hit by pitch, and I think that's where both Jacob and I really took to the Twitter machine to start shit posting about come on, just calm your tits here a little bit.
They're jealous of his music career.
Yeah, no one's trying to hit a pop star. Right?
That's pretty good. I'll give you a little bit of applause for that one. That's pretty good. I hope it's just a ho-hum clean game. If they have a clean game today, they could probably escape the series clean. That's the best bet for everybody involved. But there's a couple final thoughts on Padres here. I just wrote this in my notes. Xander Bogaerts is having a hell of a series for the Dodgers. Just wanted to throw that out there for everybody to enjoy and hopefully the trolls to enjoy. We also have a voicemail from our buddy Richie, who of course has some thoughts about the Padres. But before we do move off of the Padres, Jacob, any more thoughts just in general about this Padres series, or you feel pretty much just let it keep happening?
Yeah, I will say the Dodgers aren't going to have someone go out there and intentionally throw at someone today. They can't afford to. Spoiler alert for the bullpen usage chart, it's dire. They can't afford to lose an arm. And the whole Vasquez thing, just my take on it is he arguably could have been ejected for that. Once you miss on the first try, you need to just give it up. Because when you go in the same exact spot twice, that makes it egregiously obvious that you're throwing at someone. It would have been controversial, but I'd argue that's where I don't think this would be as big of a storyline as if he just yanked the first one and hit him. That's more defensible. But after you miss with the first one and do it again, that's when things get really, really interesting.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. You had your one shot. I think Dave even said something akin to that in the post game. You had your one shot and you missed. Just like Noah Syndergaard missed his shot, and everybody's ass was in the jackpot all the way back when. Just throw that out there. Kev, you said we got a super chat?
Yeah, Richie, before we get to Richie's voicemail, he did drop a $4.99 chat. Padres scream for the rivalry. They talk shit and poke the bear, and when the bear wakes up pissed off, they pee their pants and can't handle the heat. It was pretty funny listening to some of the Padres post game, people talking about how I guess to use the term again, performative Dave was when he got ejected, and I was wondering if they've ever watched Dave for like more than 5 minutes, because like all Dodger fans.
When and I saw this interaction with old Steven Woods, and I like Woods, but Mike Schilt is so much more performative than Dave Roberts.
Yeah.
And I said it, like 90+% of Dodgers fans like tweet or at least wish that Dave Roberts would sometimes be more performative and go out there and talk more. So that was an outrageous take. I really couldn't believe that.
Yeah, the only reason Doc was losing it was because he got hosed for just walking on the field like 2 steps. Like, how ridiculous was that? Anyway,
it was just so funny because that was a take. Because I can't remember the number of times I put in the Discord like Dave needs to get tossed here, and he just does it. He's just like the ump's just like horrible. The entire Giant series, this guy is like missing the spot. Every single guy was missing the spot. Dave doesn't say anything. Dave's just sitting there. He might give you like a what the fuck, but that's it. But no. Dave's the one that's a little too animated.
You got to remember, most of these Padres fans weren't Padres fans 10 years ago when Dave was their bench coach. They didn't know what baseball was, so this is all very new to him. They don't understand the demeanor.
The Andy Green video. That one's a classic.
That's a classic. Oh, God,
Vintage,
it's so good.
Vintage moment there. Before we continue our conversation and before we hear Richie's voicemail, I do want to take a second to tell you guys about Bet Online. It's the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. Of course, we know baseball season is in full swing. Hey, getting hit by pitch is in full swing as well. Got a couple more games in the NBA Finals, NHL Finals, NHL Finals are all wrapped up finally, but Bet Online has more ways for you to stay in on the action with whatever sport you are watching. They have the latest odds. There's news, there's scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. We're getting into the dog days of summer, and that means more sports and more more ways to have fun doing the things with your phone and the sports and the games and all that. This is me going off a script, but they have the largest selection of odds on everything. Updated odds on MLB, UFC, boxing, tennis, NFL futures, all that. BetOnline remains the best online source for all your sports wagering info. If there's not a game happening or you're in between games on any particular day, head on over to the BetOnline casino. They have top Vegas-style games, including poker. There's a live casino there. Thank you, BetOnline. BetOnline, the game starts here. And now we have Richie. Richie has some thoughts, as you would imagine, about the San Diego Padres. So let's sit back, relax, and listen to our friend Richie Flores. And I'm sure it's going to be all love about the San Diego Padres.
This will be measured.
Measured,
assuredly.
Hi, Clint. Happy whenever you're going to play this voicemail day to you. If there ever was an organization that made stepping on their dicks an art form, the San Diego Padres certainly take the Academy Award for that. First of all, if you're going to throw at somebody and if the other team reacts, nobody likes to get hit. But to criticize Andy Pages for saying, hey, I overreacted, I owned it, I should have said that, but I still think I got dotted. Okay, well, at least he manned up. Okay? But then to criticize him in the middle of that at bat and then shout out for the entire word in every meme on social media, say, who the fuck are you? Well, little Pillsbury Doughboy Mike, not only did Andy Pages shove it up your ass, but he gave you a wedgie, took your lunch money, and slammed you to the ground. And he did it while laughing in your face all the time. Yeah. And Manny, what an over drama queen little bitch Manny is. That's why I hate his fucking guts with every fiber in my body.
It's a family
Overreacting, acting tough, putting on the show. Look, at the end of the day, the Padres get very emotional when they play the Dodgers, and that works well into our favor. It's our best friend. It could be better than Kershaw 2014, Kershaw throwing a no-no against them. They just get way too emotional. They're immature, and everything is life and death, and we just sit there yelling and screaming at them and laughing in their face all the time. But anyway, let's try to win tonight's game. Let's try to take at least 3 out of 4. Let's ruin their day. I'm pretty sure that the suicide prevention hotlines in San Diego are going to be all on hold and busy tonight. Oof. But I digress. So anyway, fuck the Dodger Stadium parking lot. fuck Manny Machado, fuck the Padres, fuck Tatis, and for the love of God, fuck the Ghost Runner. Hey, yeah.
Appreciate Richie keeping the show PG for us all, as he always does.
Love
and
it.
Jacob, if that was your first voicemail here, yeah, that's what Richie does.
I've watched and seen some of them before.
Yeah. And guys, of course, you see it on the screen. Feel free to call. Of course, we'll have our regular Saturday show, Saturday morning. It should be 11 a.m., so call in if you have some thoughts about where the Dodgers are at on Saturday. I'll be here. Whoever else will be here with me, if it's Kevin. If not, it'll be myself and my coffee for a little while. But Jacob, we'll have you around as well if you're available on some Saturday mornings. But I do want to move on, guys. You know what? I was going to talk a little bit about things from the IL, but that's boring. That's not exciting. We do that a lot here on the channel, and people listen. Just Google what's the latest with Tyler Glasnow. He's getting closer to going on a rehab. That's about it.
He's pitching.
He's throwing a ball.
2 innings sim game or live BP yesterday, and that could play into a potentially rehab assignment next week. But
as long as Jerry Harrison Jr. is not hitting, he should be fine.
That's embarrassing. I love Dave saying blind squirrel. But Richie mentioned Andy Pages. We've mentioned Andy Pages. I want to talk about Andy Pages. We'll say Andrew, but it's not Andrew. It's Andy if you look at Baseball Reference. Let's talk about Pages because you got to glaze this dude because we had him. I was one of the many people who had him going at least on the AAA Express to the moon for a little bit. The defense was rough. The bat was not there for the first handful of games to open this season. But as part of our mid-June edition grades, and I'm kind of calling this a cheater version of 3 Up, 3 Down, so we don't go too long and take too long of a show before Game 3 of this series. But doing the light amount of work that it takes to put together this tweet here, hitting 330 with a 923 OPS, 24 extra base hits and 47 runs, RBI over his last 54 games. He was hitting, it wasn't a season low, but it felt like enough of a season low, 137 entering play on April 15th. Apparently, dude needed to do his taxes, and ever since then, everything has been great. Raised that season average to 293. He's 6th in the National League right now in OPS amongst outfielders. This is a dude who needs to be I would love to see him. I don't think he gets voted in. Maybe this whole Mike Schilt thing gives him a little bit more star power. But this is a dude who needs to be in serious all-star game contention. And this is a dude who, as we sit here in June and we have these report cards, the Dodgers would be absolutely lost without Andy Pages. And Jacob, if I recall correctly, you're one of the people who I think did not give up on Pages early, or were you a little on the fence about him?
No, I did fire off a couple tweets that something probably needed to change as far as his playing time or something like that, but I felt comfortable with him in Los Angeles at that point.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really any other options. There weren't other options banging down the door. To take time away in the outfield. Of course, Michael Conforto, we're going to talk about very obviously as a down in this 3 Up, 3 Down segment here. He was struggling. Alex Freeland down at AAA is not an outfielder by trade. Hyeseong Kim wasn't ready to come up and play at the major league level. And Dave, once again, Dave kind of rewarded for his patience with a younger player. We saw it last year with Gavin Lux, where he turned it on in the second half, a little before the second half, and now here Andy Pages. Just preach the good word to everybody a little bit more about Andy Pages.
Yeah, it's really interesting. My biggest gripe with him was all the mental errors he was making earlier in the season.
Yeah,
we knew the bat would play eventually, but it was just the base running gaffes. It was the poor defense in center or in right initially. He's cleaned those up, and then the bats come to play. He's definitely got some more confidence. What's really interesting, though, is kind of how he's gotten there. So this is his second year removed from a full shoulder repair. So this is kind of when you would expect him to get his power back, his some of that power swing, but he's actually hitting the ball. His hard hit rate's actually lower than it was last year. He's not hitting the ball as hard as often. He's chasing more. He's striking out a little less. He's walking a lot less. what's really kind of happened is he's just become more of a contact hitter. And I think when you combine the contact approach with some of that returned initial power, you're seeing him become more of a gap-to-gap doubles hitter, which has really helped him in the box. It's built his confidence. And now we're seeing him confident in the outfield. So this is a guy that, as a prospect, I think people were calling him like Aaron Judge light with like the way his swing path and kind of his ability to pull home runs.
I could see that, the way he drops lines in there. Yeah.
But it's not that way right now. He's just a like really powerful contact hitter.
What I love too is he admitted right around the time of his turnaround that when he was hitting low in the lineup, 8, 9 hole, like he was trying to be a different player. He was trying to be more of a facilitator for this team, move people over, get on base. Clearly that wasn't his game, and thank God for Theo helping him out, putting the arm around him, and be like, bro, just be yourself. Go out there, sell out for power when you need to, and find some grass. And everything about this kid has been phenomenal. Honestly, the defensive turnaround, I think I'm a little more shocked about. And, I'm not somebody who's huge on the metrics, but I'm seeing a lot of red on that Savant page these days, guys. It's very, very nice to see.
Yeah, he's a plus defender at all 3 outfield positions now, which if you were told in April that in June he would be a plus center fielder, you would call me crazy and not believe me. This is a dude I've always been high on. Like Kevin talked about with the bat, that's a really encouraging sign because that power's not going to just disappear. He's always going to have the potential to hit those homers, and cutting down some of that whiff it's awesome. And his OPS is up 39 points or .039 ever since Mike Schilt said, "Who the fuck are you?" So he's a bit of a dog too.
Shout out Schilty for being the best hitting coach Andy Pages has so far this season. Dude has been great. Again, I very much would love to see him get some sort of all-star love, some recognition, because it's not just – this is not me being a Dodger fan. This is not me being a homer. He's going out there. He's earning it, and he deserves at least a little bit of love. But in the outfield, you got a lot of big names, good players, living players.
Yeah, there's a lot of people still vote Tatis just for the name, but by every metric, Andy Pages is outpacing him. I know defensive metrics are always kind of wonky. You just you can pick a handful, pick your favorite, but when you see a trend with Andy Pages where like every defensive metric has him as an above average, in some cases elite player, like that's something that you can actually take away from those metrics is when they're all grouped. And it's the same thing with Mookie at shortstop. Like Mookie is graded on as a really good shortstop by like every metric. So that's saying something, even if defensive metrics by nature aren't the most accurate or the most truthful.
To try to put a nice little ribbon on this Pages talk, I guess really what I would like to preach to people who watch this, maybe don't watch every single game and you just show up and look at whatever the line score, whatever is telling, the scoreboard says that particular day about Pages hitting, 240 or Muncy hitting 239 or whatever it is on the season. I always like to preach the story of 162 games. It's a very, very long story. There's a reason we have an average at the end of the season. It tells one part of the story, but different chapters, different sections of the season, these dudes turned it on. And what I'm seeing out of Pages, like it passes the eye test, it passes the sniff test, passes the gut test for me. Like it's real. He's bought in, and it really came down to just confidence. Believing in yourself, because the rest of the boys in that locker room believe in you as well. And dude took off with a little bit of faith. Sometimes you got to have faith. One guy we don't have faith in is Michael Conforto. Before we talk Conforto, I do want to shout out our buddy, our pal, IB Strokin, who did gift 5 memberships to the All Dodgers YouTube channel. Thank you, IB Strokin. for always being an incredible supporter here of the brand, of the channel, all that kind of stuff. Guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button just for IB Stroke, and I think he would appreciate it very much. But new channel members, you should get some contact information or some information on how to get in contact with me so you can join us on the All Dodgers Discord server and have a conversation. Jacob, I think you also reached out to me about that one time. We'll get you in if you want to have random conversations with random people on the internet, free of charge to you, buddy, because you're a friend of the show here. But 1 month only. No, I'm sticking around. But I was about to crap all over Michael Conforto, and I think that's what people are here for. Luckily, thankfully, mercifully, Dave Roberts today, pregame, if you guys notice, Michael Conforto's not in the lineup. Hyeseong Kim back in the lineup, and Doc kind of addressed that Kim finally, mercifully, he's earning some opportunity. Shot. I mean, we've all known that. Why it took Dave some time. I know it's not. They paid Michael Conforto a lot of money to come play baseball for this team, and they're still in first place. They got a decent enough lead where they can continue to try to run him out there and let him figure himself out. But maybe Kim starts getting a little bit more playing time, at least from what Dave said today and tomorrow in this series. It sounds like Conforto will be on the bench while he tries to sort out some things with his swing. And everybody rejoice. Michael Conforto, we're at that point in the season where he's going to start getting less playing time, and this is what we want. We also want to see really consistently what Hyeseong Kim is made out of, because we're about a month and change away from the trade deadline, and they need to address whether or not they need to go out and get themselves a left fielder, because the answer right now is not Conforto. I don't know that I'm sold on the answer being Hyeseong Kim because we haven't seen enough of him, and we also, like, maybe Kike gets in there, and then it's October, and then October Kike figures itself out and everybody's happy and we have another ring. Are we live, all that kind of stuff. But for now, to have less Conforto in the lineup, I think it's a good thing for him mentally, because we've seen this in the past, gentlemen, where these dudes are going through it. And I like remembering famously, like, Adrian Gonzalez was like, hey, I want to sit for like 3 days so I can get myself mentally back in the game. And I think that's kind of what they're doing with Conforto right now. Jacob, do you think maybe we're a little too deep in the shit here when it comes to Conforto, though, kind of resurrecting his season?
Yeah, I'm kind of known for being too high on guys generally, and I'm not very high on Michael Conforto. So I think that kind of says a lot. I'm not going to get too analytical, but the analytics don't like him. He's pulling the ball in the air way less than he ever has in his career. And I think it's pretty common knowledge that you want to pull the ball in the air. That's just one sample statistic. There's a lot of them. It's time to start getting Kim some run. I think it's been time. And kind of like you said, or exactly what you said, we need to see what Kim can do. He hasn't gotten an ample opportunity. And quite honestly, what he's done so far isn't sustainable. So we need to see what is sustainable in the long run, which you can only get with more playing time.
Kevin, I want to take more of the Kim side of this. He's somebody we should honestly talk about as an up for this team as well, because, he came in signed with whatever of expectations, leaves spring training with low expectations, shows up, when he finally gets the call to join the big league team, kind of low expectations, and he's exceeded them all, and then some. In your opinion here, somebody who's been a Kim booster for a while, do you think Kim can kind of take a stranglehold of left field or center field, or however it works for him? Or is Dave just doing that thing where, he Daves and just says some words, much like I'm doing right now, to try to weave my way to a point here, or to a poignant question for you. But can Kim really take a stranglehold on a starting position and run with it?
So I do want to clarify. I was high on Kim as a defender. I thought the bat would take a minute. It still could, because the downside of the way the Dodgers have used him is he hasn't hit a slump yet. We haven't seen the league adjust to him, and we haven't seen if he can adjust back yet. He's kind of still in that the league's trying to figure him out. I would expect, as Jacob mentioned, like this isn't sustainable. We need to find out what is sustainable. We need to see what that pullback is going to look like. He definitely could. And I do think the best version of this team is with Hyeseong Kim at second base, Tommy Edman in center.
Yeah.
You have Teoscar in left, Andy Pages in right. I think that's like the best defensive lineup you could have out there. He could. The promising thing is in his like unbelievably small sample size against left-handed hitters, he's doing really well.
Yeah.
So if he can at least sustain that much, whatever you get with him against right-handed pitching is just a bonus because that's just going to be average at best generally. So if you can get if he's still good against left-handed pitching, then you've really got kind of somebody you can run out there in the 8 or the 9 spot. 'Cause that's really all he needs to be.
Yeah.
If you ask if he could take control of like the position, yeah, because the person he's got to beat out right now is like currently one of the worst players in baseball.
Yeah.
So like he absolutely could by being like league average. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess it's more so, it feels more so like it's less about what he can do and what the Dodgers will allow him to do, because he's proven himself to be a decent enough hitter, and that's underselling him at the big league level so far in his small sample size of a big league career. He just, like Dave said, like we've said here, he needs the run. He needs the opportunities, and we all need to see what he can do to reiterate this. Are they going to be active at the deadline? And this was something Andrew Friedman addressed this week with reporters. He was saying, like, I'm never going to say never about being active at the trade line, but they don't know that there is the perfect player, like the right left fielder or the right outfielder or the right piece available right now, at least, that makes sense for this team to trade for. So even if, there is Conforto still out there, or stuck with, some sort of tandem of like, I don't want to say stuck with, but you have a tandem of like Kim and Kike. Dodgers are still in first place as we get through this, and not everybody 1 through 9 is going to be a superstar, all-star, and all that. Like, I am okay. We watched baseball for years with the pitcher hitting 9th. Like a lineup can endure and survive. And we're talking about Kim hitting 289. I don't know. I'm all over the place on this. I just really want to kind of trash on Conforto a little bit. We got a super chat, by the way, from Kevin Uhas. $10 super chat. Thank you very much. As always, Kevin saying, still think we should trade Conforto for Ahmed Rosario. Hey, 3 years in a row would be insanity. Would that be 3?
It would be 3, and I don't think it's the worst idea if the difference is.
I don't think Ahmed Rosario wants to come to Los Angeles. They left him off the playoff roster for Colton Wong and then DFA'd him last year after he was productive. Yeah. I don't think this is where he wants to be.
He doesn't have a no-trade clause. He's with the Nationals right now.
He should have a no-trade clause specifically to Los Angeles. And it's like, that's it. That's good. That's all we're going to do here. Anyways, I mean, there's kind of a combined Conforto-Kim talk, because we've known for a while these are the two dudes that are going to be kind of tethered to each other. There's only so many spots the Dodgers have available, 1 through 9 each day, and defensively and all that. So hopefully Kim can kind of take this runway and run with it, because he's got the wheels, he's got the legs. Dude never skips leg day, all that kind of stuff. I guess we're doing back-to-back ups, because I wanted to talk about big ups. More of a resurgence in the bullpen. We got, this is a little bit of a cheat, but we got Anthony Banda and Alex Vesia. They've turned it around after kind of rocky starts to their season. They've been great in the month of June. But how about this dude, Tanner Scott? We got the tweet here. That's not the one I want. I do want this one, though. Jacob was the man, the myth, the legend who put together this very, very hard to notice, subtle but significant changes for Tanner Scott that made him into a straight up dog now for this team this year. He's rattled off 8 scoreless appearances in a row, 8 scoreless innings in a row, 2 hits over that span, and it took just a little bit with his lower half to get his top half back on track. Jacob, what have you liked about Tanner Scott, and more so, what have you liked about being right?
Yeah, it's always fun to be right. I got that one handed to me. The Dodgers pointed it out. I just went and found it. But
That's all it takes.
It's mainly been the fastball command. I think the thing that you really saw when he was struggling is that the target would be up with the fastball and the ball would end up over the plate or down. And it seems like when they adjusted that lower half and him flying open, that's something that was adjusted with it. Also, the velocity has come back a little bit and the slider has some more bite. The stuff was still good, but now it's like it's as gross as a baby's unchanged diaper. Like you watch him go out there and it's just 98 at the top of the zone, 90-mile-per-hour slider away. The Gavin Sheets at bat, I think from yesterday or maybe the day before, was one of the better at bats I've seen from a pitcher this year. He dotted 98 up and then threw a front door slider right on the corner, and then another 98 above the zone, exactly where you want it. And with his deceptive arm angle, it's sustainable with this change, and it's really good to see, because not just because they paid him what they paid him, but because the Dodgers have needed relievers recently, and they've gotten some back, but they still need Tanner Scott to be Tanner Scott.
Kev, what are your Scott thoughts? I know you talked about him this week as well on Kevin's Kitchen, or Let Kevin Cook, or whatever we're calling it on Monday.
Whatever we're calling it. Yeah. I was just highlighting kind of the last up to that. Well, I did that before he rattled off the last two outings, and I was already saying that, he looked a lot better with strikeout rate, not walking guys, not getting a lot of hard contact. The velocity coming back, as Jacob pointed out, is a really good sign when you pair that with his command of the baseball again, because I think they kind of go hand in hand. Sometimes if you don't have much command, he takes a little bit off the ball to try and locate it better. But then when he's not doing that and he's still throwing the ball over the heart of the plate, that's when you get the Tanner Scott that we saw. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I really like about it is it just makes the bullpen, it gives them more defined lanes, and that helps guys like Vesia and Banda. They know, okay, I don't necessarily need to do the ninth if Tanner's up today. Vesia can continue to just be that fireman. We know he'll get ready at a moment's notice, and then people will get mad when he screams off the mound, and hopefully he doesn't hurt himself doing so. But it gives, when you get those defined roles, those defined lanes all the way down, it helps those guys in the bullpen. They know when they need to be ready, they can get their bodies prepared. Daniel Hudson talked about it last year. It was really good for him when they let Trinan and Phillips kind of take the 8 and 9 spot, and that way he, didn't have to always be ready in the ninth. He could be ready, okay, I'm probably going to need it in, he can just see in the game, this is the lane they're going to put me in. So that's where the Tanner Scott resurgence really, really helps. It also just helps when you have somebody come in the ninth and you don't have to take blood pressure medication. Yeah,
having this dude be locked in, and particularly I think yesterday was the first game where I didn't have any sort of anxiety with him entering, even though it was his third day in a row. I was like, no, he's got this. Padres don't have a chance. He also had a 2-run cushion to play with, even if there was a solo homer. He is so dialed in right now, and he probably has a little bit of, you want to beat your old team, your old employer or whatever. Tanner Scott just in the perfect lane, perfect slot. Everything you guys said right now is absolutely hitting the nail on the head right now, because this bullpen needs it pretty bad, and we know we all wish there was 2 Ben Kasparises, because you need to have one in the bullpen. You need to have one for length or to start or whatever. But if you have a lockdown 9th inning guy, or a lockdown end of game leverage dude, because sometimes we've seen him come in the 8th, everything else builds off of that, and it's been phenomenal to see. Once again, the Dodgers hit the lottery by spending a lot of money and getting a nice scratch off there with Tanner Scott. On the downside, this one pains me a little bit more. Yoshinobu Yamamoto not having a great month of June, not having a great stretch since being shifted to pitching every 5 days as opposed to his every week. I think his ERA was somewhere around 4 and change over his last 8 starts. I forgot to look up those specific numbers since he made his first short rest start against the Angels on May 8th, I believe it was. But the question I have for you gentlemen here is, like, should he go back? Should Yama go back to once a week? And we were talking just before going live here. I agree. I think it was Kevin. You said it. It feels like they're finally at a point where, with the schedule and the dudes they have in the bowl or in the rotation, they kind of can give him that luxury of going back to once a week. But is that the fix? Is that the fix there, Kev?
Yeah, I think so. I know they want to lean on him pretty heavily. You're getting Emmett Sheehan back. Clayton Kershaw looks a lot better. Like, he's just looking like Clayton Kershaw, like a lot better. You have, they want to stretch out Ben Kasparius. Like, you're getting a lot of arms back. Tyler Glass now exists in some capacity. Blake Snell also exists in some capacity. So, like, they're throwing apparently. Yeah. So I think they should and could stretch him out to once a week. They're all like, there's also that guy named Shohei Ohtani who's probably going to be on that once a week schedule anyway. Yeah. If he's better pitching once a week, let him pitch once a week. They've built this roster basically to have a 6-man rotation, and once we're out of the stretch of 29 games in 31 days against like some of the best teams in baseball, we're gonna get to a point where that 6-man rotation is basically gonna put everybody on a once a week schedule anyway. Just do that. Yeah. Just if that's what helps Yamamoto, just do that. I think the only guy who would necessarily suffer is probably Clayton Kershaw, because in his last few starts, he has been better on 4 days of rest than he was on 5 earlier in the season.
Yeah. Now,
it's still early. That could be he's just finding his footing literally with that toe. But it could also be because we know how routine-based he is, that he is just more comfortable on 4 days. I think time will just tell with that.
What's funny, too, and Jacob, I want your thoughts on this, because entering the season, Dave had kind of alluded to the fact that maybe Blake Snell wouldn't be the dude who pitches the every 6 day. Maybe he's somebody who they find a way to kind of move the pieces around. It wouldn't necessarily be like, okay, 1 starter goes here, 2 starter, 3 and so forth. Kershaw could kind of be that guy while Snell's out, and Kershaw being as good as he has been, has a 1.9 ERA since that awful first start with all the nerves and the jitters and things that apparently a 37-year-old man could have making his season debut at Dodger Stadium. But Kersh could be that dude, and then all of a sudden you can get Yama back on that once a week rotation or whatever, and then it feels to me like you kind of settle in with the starting rotation. Everybody finds their spot. You know who's going to work that day, so you can take the day off or whatever. But Jacob, what are your thoughts on all of that there? Like, could Kersh be the man once again for this team and let Yamamoto be the every 6th or 7th day guy or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Clayton Kershaw. He's been pitching for a long time. I think he's gone on regular rest for pretty much the entirety of his career. And I think he's honestly probably more comfortable doing that. He's a guy that loves pitching as much as he possibly can. And the fact is, last 7 games, Yoshinobu Yamamoto has a 4.46 ERA. And that is not good from your $325 ace. That's why I'm here, for my analysis. That's not what you want. So whatever you can do, 17 walks in 38 innings also is not good. But,
and I think a lot of those are front loaded though. He's been much more vintage, as much as he hates to hear that. He's been much more vintage over his last 2 or 3 starts. Oh wait, no, you're talking about Yama. My bad.
Yeah, Yamamoto. Yeah, no.
Kershaw, I always just think Kershaw in my heart.
You're good. The last couple starts, he's looked really good. The splitter, I think he likes to call it a changeup. I got to talk to him about it a month ago in Oklahoma City.
Let me pick that up for you here. That name drop.
Yeah, sorry. But it's playing when he needs it to, and I think he's adjusted well, and he can be very effective on it every 4 or 5 days, whatever you kind of need from him.
Yeah. We're trending towards a good spot to button this up. Dodgers are trending towards a good spot. We knew that. You just had to, like Kevin, you mentioned 29 games in 31 days. It was about survival over this stretch, and unfortunately they lost more pieces kind of than they've gained. But now they're on that path of gaining players back. You get Kershaw back about a month ago or so. You're getting Sheehan back today. We're maybe a month away from Glasnow and a couple more weeks beyond that away from Blake Snell. Dodgers are in a very good spot, and they could have themselves they currently have a 3.5 game lead in the NL West over the Giants. You have a 5 game lead right now over the Padres. You feel real damn good about things. Again, pieces just falling in place for that pitching staff, despite all of the injuries and all of the struggles. And hell, even finding a point in time where losing Luis Garcia kind of hurt. That's how bad things got.
That was a big blow.
Yeah, it was a big blow. Rest in peace.
We should have brought Danny Duffy back.
Hey, he had that legacy.
Dodgers legend, Danny Duffy. All right, for our final down here, I kind of have a bit of a grab bag. Really, it's between two grab bags here. You guys want to talk about? Are we worried at all about Michael Kopech and his first few appearances here, or more so, what are our opinions of Dalton Rushing in his first month as the backup to Will Smith? What are you guys feeling? Jacob, you're the guest here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm more concerned about Rushing. Kopech, he's kind of always going to walk guys, but the stuff still looks really good. I think the cutter command is
important tweet here from Kevin, by the way.
I think the cutter command and the slider, it's really what's been kind of concerning to me, but I think that's something he's going to figure out. I'm still super high on Dalton Rushing. I don't think he's gotten enough of a runway. Or he hasn't been treated unfairly. It's just tough to judge based off playing once or twice a week, not getting a ton of at-bats. But the K rate is above 50%, and that does concern me. So I'm not too concerned about either, but I'd be more concerned about Rushing right now.
Kev, what are your thoughts on Dalton?
I'm actually the opposite. I'm more concerned about Kopech than I am Rushing. For me,
I saw from Rushing, the tweet.
Yeah, with Rushing, for me, he's not playing every day. It's really hard to acclimate to major league pitching in general. Doesn't matter how good you are. Ask Roman Anthony. And you pair that with he's not playing nearly enough. He's going to struggle. It's a little more. He's struggling a little more than I thought he would. Jacob mentioned the strikeout rate being over 50%. That's very alarming. He can't hit breaking balls to save his life right now. But I think his expectation and the organization's expectation of him right now is learn how to handle major league pitchers, a pitching staff. The bat will come back. I don't really necessarily care what he looks like at the plate. If he runs into one, awesome. We dealt with Austin Barnes for forever, so this is just Austin Barnes with upside, which is already pretty good if you ask me. As long as he learns defensively.
It's a great shirt, by the way. Austin Barnes with upside, put 68 on the back. Anyways, sorry, not to.
If he improves defensively, improves with his game calling, I think that goes a long way. I trust his bat. With Kopech, it's scary just because his misses are just wild. I think he missed a pitch by about 10 feet. Yesterday.
He hit a tripod yesterday. He had a damn camera on a stick behind. He almost hit Mary Hart.
On that, I thought Tatis was definitely scoring on that one.
Yeah. It's shocking that he didn't.
That was Kevin Costner close of like, I don't know where this thing's going. You might want to step out of the box. Like that's what concerns me, because that was something that was his issue in his rehab starts, and it hasn't really fixed itself yet. And like you've mentioned, he's known for his walks, but like these walks are scarier than like the walks we saw last year. So in terms of who I'm more concerned about, it's definitely Kopech. I think Rushing will be fine. This is just, Will Smith is currently the best catcher in the National League, best catcher not named Cal Raleigh. So taking him out of the lineup, you can't really justify it.
Yeah, I would say I kind of agree with that in that Kopech is a little more worrisome just because you need him to be on to feel better about what, essentially Kasperius being able to pitch only, once, maybe twice a week right now because they need him more often. But yeah, with Rushing, I think just the expectations and how much we hyped this dude up to ourselves and other people hyping this guy up before making his debut, to see him 13 games into his big league career here, hitting 205. I think you want more. You want more, and that's where I'm at in my concerns. I would like to see him having more. He admitted having struggles adjusting to this backup role and the minimal playing time. But to the Dodgers' credit, they are doing exactly what they said. And nobody can be mad about this. Maybe Austin Barnes can be mad about this, but otherwise, hopefully, the second half of June things pick up. I think once he finds himself a dinger off of, didn't he hit a homer, his first homer off a position player? So once he gets a dinger off like a real pitcher, we'll all feel a lot better.
Do you think he got that ball back?
He did, I think.
Yeah, I think you have to, and then you're just like,
that's rough.
Here, it's the old here, mom, here, dad, whatever.
Yeah, and one thing about Rushing is he has shown the flashes. His max exit velocity this year, I think, was 112. So you've seen, you guys have kind of convinced me here. You've seen what he can do.
He scorched a single down the right field line, like 111 or something like that.
He needs more of a runway, but there isn't a runway available. So that's just kind of what it's going to be for a little bit. And that's kind of what we knew was going to happen. So that's just what the situation is.
The most important thing that I appreciate from Dalton Rushing is that he was smart enough to get rid of that dumbass dirt lip. It's not a good mustache. It's not a good mustache.
I think he rocked it.
I'm with Jacob. I want that.
I don't know. I just
that mustache.
We have too many clean cut guys.
I mean, that's fair.
Dalton Rushings, Michael Kopech.
What, you don't like a bunch of nice shaved white boys in the clubhouse? Come on now, man.
I miss JT's beard.
I'd prefer the raccoon on the upper lip over like the Dustin May hair or the Michael Kopech beard. I gotta be honest. I like the mustache.
I mean, it's a look. It's certainly a look, but it's the look of somebody who's having more of a Cal Raleigh season than somebody whose first career homer is off of a minor league or off of a reliever or a position player pitching. But there's our kind of abbreviated version, still half an hour worth of report card, ultimately to button the whole thing up. Dodgers are in first place. We feel good. People are getting healthy. We're trending in the right direction. Teoscar Hernandez is back to hitting the ball hard again. Shohei Ohtani is throwing a baseball for this team now. Mookie Betts is playing, as Kevin said, or whoever, which one of you guys said, Mookie Betts is playing a very good shortstop, despite the fact that people don't want to give him respect for it. Which is another whole conversation we can have at another point in time. Maybe mid-season report cards for that one. But Dodgers are in a good spot.
He's not impressing Eric Karros anymore, apparently. At least that's what he said last night.
Hey, I'll tell you, man. EK, he just says some shit. He just says some shit.
He goes off the cuff.
Going and then.
I feel this will be the last little thing we could do here, but I feel like Joe Davis can wrangle EK in a little bit, but Steven Nelson has no chance. My boy Nelly got no chance. Nelly, get your EK in order.
They just go back and forth.
Yeah. It's some good stuff. But Dodgers versus Padres tonight. We got Emmett Sheehan making his 2025 debut in his first start in about 16 months removed from surgery. 13 months removed from surgery and like 18 months from the his last game or something like that. So we feel good. Dodgers, let's go take care of business, guys. Appreciate you hanging out with us. I see my boy Cooper Neal just tubed into the chat. Perfect timing because this is when we're signing off. Give this guy a follow. Give this guy a follow right here. Jacob does some awesome things on the Twitter machine.
Now reach through Jacob.
Whoa, I can't do that. Actually, I could find a way to do that, but this is not that kind of show. It's a lot of wasted time there. But Jacob, appreciate having you on. We'll get you on here more often because I love talking Dodger baseball with people that know what the hell they're talking about, and he's a good one there. Give him a follow, like I said, Brownson Jacob 2 on the Twitter. Of course, Skinner7 Kevin on the Twitter. I don't have a number. Sorry, guys. I don't have numbers in my name, but it's a real FRG. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out with us here on this random Wednesday edition of the show. Appreciate you guys. Want to thank our channel members, our Patreon supporters for helping support the show. You guys rock and keep the motor going here at the All Dodgers podcast. If you guys are looking for a different way to support the show, support independent Dodgers coverage here on the internet, do check out patreon.com/realfrg or click the join button here on YouTube. It's $5 a month. You also get access to our Discord server. We have watch parties. We have meetups at the game. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on that you need to be a supporter to know about. Shout out to our mods for doing a kick-ass job in the chat. All Dodgers is presented by Bet Online. Go do Bet Online things. That's all I got. Go Dodgers. Bye.